Tired of bloating, fatigue and sluggish digestion? Meet your gut's new best friend, NutriHealth 365's microbiome supplement. Restore balance, boost immunity, and feel amazing from the inside out. Smart delayed release capsules, real results. Gut health just got personal.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Tuesday's episode of Trending. Today, we're going to be talking about the release of Virginia Giuffre's memoirs. We're going to be talking about Prince Andrew living rent-free. We're going to talk about Israel mutilating Palestinian prisoners, and Maccabi Tel Aviv refused to accept a ticket allocation that they haven't been offered. Welcome to today's episode of Trending, brought to you in association with NutriHealth 365. The link is in the description below. We'll start today with this story. So this was breaking yesterday and in today, and I'm guessing it's probably going to continue breaking over the next couple of days because the release of Virginia Giuffre's memoirs is due in the next couple of days. This is a headline. This is from the New York Post. Now, this is quite interesting because the headlines are basically the same throughout the entirety of the mainstream media, to be honest. Virginia Giuffre beaten, raped by well-known prime minister in attack that broke Epstein's spell, her memoir reveals. Well-known prime minister. They don't name them at this point. Why? Prominent Jeffrey Epstein victim Virginia Roberts Giuffre was brutally bloodied, beaten and raped by a well-known prime minister in a series of savage encounters that finally helped the teenager break free from the sex trafficker's spell. In her posthumous memoir, Nobody's Girl, a memoir of surviving abuse and fighting for justice, Giuffre recalled begging Epstein to step in after the unnamed politician forced her to beg for her life. But the paedophile coldly told her it simply was part of her job. After the attack, I couldn't stay a fool. Having been treated so brutally and then seeing Epstein's callous reaction to how terrorized I felt, I had to accept that Epstein meted out praise merely as a manipulation to keep me subservient, Giuffre wrote, according to an excerpt shared with the Post. Well-known prime minister. So it seems that the New York Post, and as I said at the start, many other well-known mainstream media outlets won't name who this well-known prime minister is. It's Ehud Barak. He's a former prime minister of Israel. That was really easy. I just said his name. It just came out. But for some reason, they can't. It's weird, isn't it? Ehud Barak. It's a real easy name to say as well. It's like, literally just rolls off the tongue. But what's mad is that's well known because she said it in multiple court filings and court testimony. So it's not like it's a secret. It's out there and it's named in the book within the memoirs. So why then are these outlets so petrified? Why well-known prime minister? Just say his name. It's strange because Barak denies it, of course, but then so does Prince Andrew. Yet they're all happy to name him constantly. It's weird, isn't it, as a power dynamic? You would think that a royal family would be the one that you don't name. Oh God, don't mess with them. Don't mess with the royals. But they're happy to go for Mr. Doesn't Sweat. Name Andrew as much as you want. He's all over the media at the moment. That's fine. But we'll just go with well-known prime minister, even though everyone knows who he is because she's named him in court multiple times. Barak, by the way, is the guy as well. He was prime minister of Israel, but he was also very high in the IDF. And whilst he was in the IDF, as part of an operation, he went to Lebanon dressed as a woman so that he could get access to members of the PLO, the Palestine Liberation Organization, and their wives, and shot them up. Killed a bunch of people whilst dressed as a woman. So him being a psychopath that would do something like this to Virginia Giuffre is, not beyond the realms. Let's have it right. Now, I'm kind of looking at it in a slightly different way as well in terms of these memoirs because, spoiler alert, we ain't getting the Epstein files. So anyone that elected Donald Trump, even in part, even if it was just part of the reason they elected Donald Trump was to get the Epstein files, soz hun, that ain't happening. Not a chance. One, because I imagine, and it doesn't take a lot of an imagination, he's in them. Bearing in mind, he's a very close friend, one of my best friends with Epstein. And so that'll be part of the reason, because he'll be in them. And part of the reason, because this was another thing as well. When he didn't release them, and everyone was saying, well, yeah, it's probably because he's in them. And then everyone came out and went, no, because if he was in them, then the Democrats, when Biden was president, would have released him. Of course they would. They would have released him because it would have named him and it would have destroyed him as an opponent. Nah, not if they're in them as well, mate. Because they're all in them. It's the one thing, paedophilia, that just ties the establishment together in everything, whether it be royalty, politics, media, Savile at the BBC, all that stuff. It's literally the glue. Honestly, paedophilia is rife and it's within these organizations and it goes all the way to the top and it's used as blackmail. And I'm aware these glasses make me look like one a bit, but I'm going blind. The other part as well, it's not just the case of Trump probably being in them, as they're all in them, but it's also because it's part of a blackmail operation. No one who gives up their blackmail operation. Why would you do that? Because trust me, ladies and gentlemen, Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli government, they'll have the Epstein files. They'll know exactly who's on them so that they can use them as leverage to get what they want. It's part of the reason why a tiny sliver of land the size of the state of New Jersey kind of gets what it wants. And has everyone being summoned over there to lick the wall, as they seem to all be being summoned at the minute. Everyone's over there at the minute. It must be very crowded. And do they all lick the same part of the wall as well? Because if they do, that's a health and safety issue. Were they still licking the wall during COVID? Or did they have to, spray it with disinfectant? These are all valid questions. So we're not going to get the Epstein files. He's not going to give them up if he's on them. They're not going to give up a blackmail operation, because why would you? Because as soon as you give up the blackmail operation and name everyone, then you can't use it as leverage to get what you want from them, because you've already given up that leverage. They ain't going to do that. So this is another way of looking at it. What on earth happened to Virginia Giuffre, by the way? Does anyone actually believe the official story that she took her own life? Despite saying she wasn't going to do that and she wasn't suicidal. And if anything happens to me, I've been got at. And openly said that and tweeted it. Then suddenly she takes her own life. This is after the extraordinary debacle with the car crash. Does anybody remember that? What on earth was that about? So you've got Virginia Giuffre in a car, but not driving, with an older woman driving the car. It crashes into a school bus in Australia. She is then photographed or puts a little video up on her Instagram saying she's basically moments from death because of this horrendous car crash. So then the driver of the bus comes out and says, what? It was just a prank. And here's the evidence. It was literally just a prank. Just pranked into the car. I think I broke a rear light, a tail light. That's all that happened. Then another statement's released on her Instagram saying, I'm sorry I worried everyone. Then she's dead. And then these memoirs are released. So it begs the question, who controls what's in the memoirs? Because she's no longer with us, she's not releasing them. So how do we know that who's releasing them hasn't redacted certain parts of them? Oh, no, leave that one. No, take that out. Leave that in. Because they've got to give us something, haven't they? Because people know that she'd written memoirs. That is common knowledge. So you can't just flat out just bury them, because people will be going, where are they? Well, so you have to give them something, but you have to give them the whole lot. And so when I look at Barak, who I'm obviously not a fan of, you know, people that dress up as women and shoot people and their families, pretty weird in my mind. But he is an opponent of Benjamin Netanyahu. You know, he's a political opponent, quite an open political opponent. He ran against him. But he's also an opponent vocally in terms of what he says. So Ehud Barak has openly questioned the inconsistencies of October 7th and spoke about the fact that the security on the border wouldn't have allowed that. And he's asked questions. And he's also been very vocal over the years about the fact that essentially Hamas was propped up by Benjamin Netanyahu through funding, but also Hamas is essentially propping up Benjamin Netanyahu and his government, because every time they carry out a terrorist attack or throw rockets at Israel, Netanyahu's approval rating goes through the roof, because it then provides him with the excuse to go in and do military operations. They also provide him with the excuse to keep cancelling or delaying his corruption trial. So is it almost a limited hangout in a way? That yes, she's naming these people, but the ones we're going to see in these memoirs that are being released over the next couple of weeks or so are only the names we're allowed to see. So like I said earlier, Prince Andrew, fine, not a problem. Throw that guy around as much as you like. Ehud Barak, they're slightly more frightened of naming, but he's named in the memoirs. But who is so terrifying to the establishment that he's not even getting in the memoirs? It's a question worth asking, I think, because she's no longer with us. So how will we ever know? Because if she releases her memoirs and they get serialized in the New York Post or wherever else, or they get released by whatever publishing company, and it comes out, she sits there, oh, here's my memoirs, here's the book I wrote, and then reads it and realizes that there's names redacted, she's going to have something to say about it, isn't she? Of course she is. I know I would. But she can't, because she's died. So they give us a few names, but not the major players. That's what I'm I'm not even suggesting. I'm asking the question, ladies and gentlemen. Is that something? Does that sit with you? Because it wouldn't shock me. In fact, I'll be honest with you. I'd probably be more shocked if they didn't redact certain names. Even if it was done in a way that they were going to release all of them, and then it was like, well, no, because if you release that one, there's going to be a lawsuit, and then the publishing company goes, oh God, we'll take that bit out, edit that. Wouldn't shock me. Now, someone, like I say, that they don't have a problem with naming is Prince Andrew. He's been named consistently, which again makes no sense to me in terms of them being frightened to name Ehud Barak, because it's prominent Prime Minister. You just say his name, mate. Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew, Prince Andrew, Prince Andrew. So this story, part of the vilification, I guess, of Prince Andrew, which I have no problem with. The guy's a wrong and vilify him as much as you want. Not a problem. But sometimes it's worth asking the question, why do they want me to hate one person but not the other? And also when they're saying things in order to vilify someone that kind of don't really make much sense. So this is one of those I would suggest. Prince Andrew has paid no rent on Royal Lodge for more than 20 years. This is a front page news story. This is a breaking news story. I listened to it on the radio when I was driving into work. And they're all going off on one about it. Prince Andrew has not paid rent on his Royal Lodge for more than 2 decades, according to the tenancy agreement released by the Crown Estate. So the Crown are happy to chuck him under the bus as well at the minute. Like they all are, aren't they? They've stripped him of his titles and stuff like that. Now, like I say, I don't have a problem with that. But they're kind of all wrong-uns. So it's almost like, Andrew, chuck him Andrew. There's a baying mob that wants justice, rightly, give him Andrew. Just chuck him Andrew. Protect everyone else, just chuck him Andrew. He's hella unlikable anyway. Mind you, they all are. The lease, which was sent to The Independent, follows calls for transparency over the royals' residence, with focus returning to Andrew's 75-year lease of the 30-bedroom Royal Lodge in Windsor. Who needs 30 bedrooms? That's not a lodge, is it? 30 bedrooms. For what? Don't want to know, to be honest. After another week of scandal. The agreement states that Andrew paid $1 million for the lease. Did he? Did he pay it? Is it his money then? Did he earn it? Was he been doing a few shifts at Asda, is he? Or did we pay it? Oh yeah, we paid it. Well, I'll edit that. The agreement states that the mug taxpayer paid £1 million for the lease, along with at least $7.5 million for refurbishments in 2005. Don't put the heating on, love. Sorry, Granny, don't put the heating on. Can't afford it. I've got to pay for refurbishments. He's paid only one peppercorn. What? He paid only one peppercorn, if demanded, in rent per year since 2003. I don't even know what that means. Am I being an idiot? Probably. He's paid one peppercorn. I'm hoping that's just a way of saying he's paid sod all. And that's not like some weird terminology that the royals use. Peppercorn. Now, like I say, they're giving us Andrew. Okay, well, I'm happy to have Andrew chucked under the bus. He's a wrong one. I'm happy with that. That's fine. But I'm not satisfied with that. I want all of these buggers. My quench for justice and truth, I'm afraid, is not quenched by Prince Andrew and his sweaty back. It's not. But also, you know, even away from aside from the Epstein stuff, the gaslighting in this is extraordinary. He's refused to pay rent. So the rent's been picked up by the taxpayer. Where does his money come from? So what's the difference? Like, genuine question. I don't understand the outrage. Of course he's not paid rent. He's never paid rent. Never paid a penny of his own money in his life. Dude's never had a job. None of them have. Literally none of them have had jobs. So what difference does it make? So if I give, yeah, Andrew, I'm the taxpayer, mug, I'm the taxpayer, there's £7.5 million for refurbishments. If I give that to Andrew and Andrew pays the builder, has Andrew paid for the refurbishments then? Is that the point we're making? Or so that's fine. Okay, so there you go, Andrew. There's £7.5 million of the skint taxpayers' money. Can't afford public services, potholes everywhere, can't afford winter fuel payments, youth clubs and other projects within the community that help with the youth. Can't afford them. Libraries closed. Arts council projects, no funding. Sorry, mate, no cello lessons for you, Bobby boy. There you go. But there's £7.5 million. So if we give that to Andrew and then Andrew pays Dave the builder, that's fine. There's no outrage. Not a problem. Don't worry about it. But if I circumnavigate Andrew and I pay Dave the builder £7.5 million, that's a problem. Because Andrew's not paid it. Andrew's not paid it anyway. Honestly, the gaslighting is mental. And you know, and it's a scandal. People are going, oh my goodness me, I can't believe he's not paid rent. He's not paid rent in his life. We paid for the Pizza Express that he didn't have, but claimed he did because it gave him an alibi. Honestly, ladies and gentlemen, and this is one thing, you know, and I'm not like, you know, calling people out, whatever, but well, I am a bit. I don't understand those within the freedom movement, and there are a lot, that love the royal family. It blows my mind. Honestly, it's up there with the people that go to a protest against COVID jabs, saying my body, my choice, and then going to McDonald's on the way home. Although, to be fair, if it's a choice, whatever. But extraordinary how much people still support the royal family, especially when, you know, the king is Mr. Agenda 2030, Mr. Klaus Schwab fluffer. It's weird to me, but there you go. So we'll have to see what happens with that. You know, my original question, I guess, with the first story I'm making in terms of Virginia Giuffre is what is not in the memoirs that was in the memoirs? I think it's a question worth asking. Okay, so that's the end of the free section. Well, it's all free, to be honest, but that's the end of the section that goes out on social media. To watch the rest or listen to the rest, you can head over to iconic.com. The exact link to that, the exact URL is in the description below.
Hello, my name is Sarita, and I am delighted that you are joining me here for this series, Stuck in Conspiracy, in which I am going to explain to you exactly how the reality that we all find ourselves in works, how we are all currently being held in an illusionary, holographic, frequency bandwidth simulation to lock us into an agenda and self-perpetuating loops of negative thoughts and experiences that disempower us. I am going to explain to you why we have found ourselves in such a detrimental position, and most importantly of all, I will then share with you specific techniques and meditations that will allow you to reclaim sovereignty back over your mind, your body, emotions, soul, and life, to raise not only your consciousness, but the collective consciousness of humanity, so that we can rise out of this detrimental reality program of indoctrination that has been going on for millennia. This series is going to take us on a deep dive into the nature of the spiritual war going on within this planet, and how the rabbit holes of conspiracy theory, although a necessary first step in awakening, can actually keep you stuck in unconsciously feeding the negative agenda. This may be the most empowering and important information that you have ever received. And so I invite you to pay close attention, practice the techniques offered to you here, and have not only the courage to face the truth of what is going on in this world, but more importantly, the fortitude to actually do something about it for yourself, your loved ones, and for our human family. So without further preamble, let's dive right in.